Hey guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and today is Monday, August 10th, 2020, and this is episode 94. So if you are new here, this is a podcast primarily about cross-stitching. Every so often I wander off into quilting or knitting or whatever else is floating my boat at the moment. So, but today I think it's all going to be cross-stitching. So settle in and we'll jump right in, shall we? It's August. I'm not sure how that happened. It is also March 394th or something. So yeah, time has been very strange since the beginning of March. Yeah, but it's August, so that means that it's my birthday month, which I am excited about. And so we'll talk about my birthday stitch along here in a little bit. But let's get down to business, shall we? So, finishes. I actually have a finish to show you somewhere in the stack of things that I have here. So, the thread that I needed to finish this off came, and I immediately set everything else aside and picked this back up and finished it. So this is Hallow Eden by Plum Street Samplers, and I stitched it mostly with the called for overdyes. There were a few I substituted out because I didn't have what it called for, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is on a 36 count linen as far as I can tell, which was dyed, I believe, by Sylvia. And it's showing up a little bluish, purplish there, but it's actually more of a gray. But I just really love how the colors pop on it. So when you saw it last, I had like this first row of leaves here to do, and then I ran out of the Weeks Swiss chocolate for the outline. So I got that, and so I finished these last little leaves, and then that's it, all done. And I really love this piece. It took me way longer to finish this than it really should have. But isn't that the case with most of the things that I have? So I worked on this, for the last two Dark 13 stitching time periods and got it done. And I just love it. So in the chart for this, Paulette actually gives you two different options for stitching. She gives you this one, which is a little more fall, and then she gives you another one, which is more Halloween. And in the Halloween one, these pumpkins up here are actually jack-o'-lanterns, and I think instead of this acorn, she has a black cat. So both are fun, but I really liked the autumn version, so love it, love it, love it, and also happy to have it finished. So I will, oh, and I didn't bring it in here, oh well. I was going to say for Dark 13 stitching, which is coming up this week, I'm going to pick up another whip of mine and see if I can't knock it out too. So I think I'm going to pick up Jinx by Raise the Roof Designs, because I think I'm pretty close to finishing that one. And I'm just going to try to work on that one until I get it done. And I meant to bring it in here and totally forgot. So, oh well. We'll talk about it next time. So that's it for finishes. So then let's talk about whips. So I have been working on the Damn Bird SAL, which is this partridge sewing box by Blackbird Designs, which is in Loose Feathers Summer. This is the 3-part series for that sampler that, you know, everybody's gaga over, which I will probably never stitch because it bugs me that there's only 3 seasons, but whatever. So it's in summer, and it's the partridge sewing box. And so after we finished up our Melancholy SAL, Emily from Eclectic Possessions and Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, and Michelle Bendy decided that we would stitch on this damn bird. And we've had a number of other people join in, most of which I think are already finished. I think Margot finished hers, and I think Annette finished hers as well. And here I am at the back of the pack, as per usual. So here's where I'm at on mine. And I'm using some of the called for Belle Soies, some I did not have, and so I just substituted. And so this rusty orange color that I'm using is actually not the called for, but it is Belle Soie Terracotta, and I think it's looking really good. So this is his body, and up here is his wing. And so I've been working on this a little bit here and there when I'm on, you know, a Zoom stitching get together with my friends. I've been working on this because it's easy to just do fill in. So I still need to get his head in here and do all the stitching, the black in his wing, and then do that fill in. And then I've got some more leaves up here to do, but I was sort of testing colors. So that's where I'm at. I think that this is a 36 count, and I believe it's either light exemplar or it's Meadow Rue. It might be Meadow Rue. I don't know. Whichever. It's a Lakeside. And it was unmarked, and it was like a remnant in my little fabric bucket. So there you go. So I'm just going to keep kind of, pulling him out and working on him, like I said, during Zoom calls or whatever, because then that's easy. I can just kind of fill in. And eventually he will get done. Several people have asked me what I'm going to do with him when I'm finished. If I'm going to put him on a box. He's kind of big. So, I mean, this is my 8-inch Q snap. So, I mean, you can see he's kind of big. So I don't think I will put him on a box. I will probably end up framing him for my bird wall. We'll see. There's not a lot of FFOing happening right now, so whatever. Eventually I'll finish him. And I have this in my Love You More Studio Co. bag in Tula Pink, Pinkerville. So, all right. So I've been working on that here and there. And then of course, being that it is my birthday month now, I have been working on Anne Ufendel by Hands Across the Sea. So for August, I asked everyone to join me in a birthday SAL, which is the Cozyegg Hats Bday SAL. And specifically, if you have one of the Ufendel sisters that you're working on or want to start, absolutely join in with that. But really, any Hands Across the Sea sampler is perfect. Or if you don't have a hat sampler and you just want to play along, feel free. Just use the hashtag. That way I know that you're coming to my party. So, so I have this in my Paris macaron bag that I made with much help from some friends. One friend supplied the fabric, one supplied the zipper, one supplied the vinyl, one instructed us on how to do it, and then I have my little macaron stitch marker from Secret Miniatures. Here is a zipper pull because I just love it. So, and I'm using the DMCs, which are absolutely beautiful, and I'm loving my thread drops that I bought specifically for this purpose. So, and I will show you, here's what Anne looks like. She's just a stunner. Absolutely a stunner. So let me show you my progress on her. And I'm stitching this on 40 count light hazelnut by XG Designs. And that's where I'm at. I love this so much. Seriously, so much. So, please ignore all of my happenings that are going on here and all of this business. I need to make a grime guard like stat just to corral all of this because it's making me crazy. But back to the stitching. Okay, so when I showed this to you last time before the beginning of August, so this was one of my Sampler Mania starts. So I started it back in May, worked on it a little bit, and really haven't touched it since. So I had this flower in, and I think these two, and then I had a little start on this rosebud right here, and maybe part of this flower, or this one, whichever. But I was missing two colors of DMC, and so this sort of raspberry color I was missing, and then there's sort of a silvery gray color in there that I was also missing. So once I was able to put in that raspberry color, it dramatically changed the look of the whole piece. So that was the first thing that I did, was I put in those colors that I was missing, and then I worked my way to the corner here, and I don't know why I started in the top middle of the border. I just randomly did. Normally I start in the top left corner. Every so often I start in the middle. I guess I just decided to mix it up this time. I don't know. But I worked my way to this corner, and I worked my way almost to this corner. This flower goes right here, so, but I just couldn't quite make that. So I just have my threads sort of hanging here. I just have them parked so that when I move this, I can just keep going. And then I decided to try the over one. So I did that little over one rosebud, which is no joke on 40 count. And it took me like 2 nights to stitch that one little motif because there are a lot of colors in that. And so last night I basically concentrated right in here and worked on that. And there's a ton of colors just right in here and in these leaves. Like each of these leaves has like 4 colors in them. So it's a lot, but I absolutely love it. I love the way that it looks. I'm so happy with it. and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I've got this whole top border completely finished, except for this flower right here. And I'm just going to kind of, work my way down, and as soon as I get this is a big center flower basket. This is what I'm working on right here. So that's going to keep me busy for a while, I think. And there's another one of these over one rosebuds, and this is over one, both of these, and then these are over one, so my over one days are not behind me. But super loving it. Loving it, loving it. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep with it through the end of the month. I am gonna take a small break to do some dark 13 stitching, but other than that, I'm just gonna stay with it. And this is a bigger picture of it. A centerfold. So pretty. And so if you have never purchased a Hands Across the Sea chart, one of the things that I will tell you is that they are beautifully, beautifully done. I mean, just the quality of the paper and the printing is really nice. And I am not typically someone that likes color charts. The exception of that is on chatelaines. I can only do a chatelaine with the color chart because they are so detailed and there's so much going on in them that it's really hard, in my opinion, to decipher them in black and white. And you really need that color chart to kind of help you figure out what you're doing. And so the Hands Across the Sea charts are in color, and I had originally been working from a working copy, so a black and white copy of the color chart, because I didn't want to mess up my borrowed chart. And it has been really difficult to, I just think it's easier to go from a color chart, even for a sampler like this, that's not quite as intense as a chatelaine, but it just makes it a little bit easier, I think. So maybe I'm relaxing my opinion of color charts. But I just want to give you just a quick kind of, the charts, I know it's a no-no to show you the chart, but I'm going to do it anyway. The charts are just really beautifully done. They're large. They're really nice. So if you haven't had the opportunity to purchase one of their charts or stitch one of their samplers, you should do it. So, okay. And I'm just going to leave that right there. So that's what I've been working on whip-wise. So then I got a few things in the mail, so I thought I would share those. So, and everything's a little disorganized, so this may be kind of a hot mess, so please excuse me. All right, so the first thing that I got in the mail was this beautiful card from Janine at the Blue Flower. Isn't that fun? I love that. And she, of course, sent me a skein of Swiss chocolate so that I could finish my Hallow Eden. So thank you so much, Janine, for bailing me out. And I love the beautiful card. So I was really thrilled with that. So that came, trying to sort of sort myself out here. And then another friend of mine sent along a little something that she saw it and she said it just reminded her of me. And so this is a little needle minder from Caffeinated Cat Crafts, and it's a book of spells. Isn't that cool? I just love it. Just love it. So I can't wait to use this. Now that I've shown it to you, now I can use it. But it came in this little bag. Very sweet. I love it. In fact, I will probably keep it out so I can put it on my dark 13 stitching. Okay, and then another sweet friend who I owe a package to, but I can't seem to get my act together, sent me a package that I was not really expecting. She had asked for my address and then I promptly forgot about that. So when a package showed up, I was super surprised. But what she sent me was this chart so that I could give back my borrowed version and have one of my very own so that I could savor stitching on Anne Ufendel and not feel like I had to, you know, get it done. So she sent me this, which I am absolutely thrilled with, and I have been stitching with this instead of my black and white working copy since I got it. And like I said, it has made a huge difference being able to stitch from the color version, which is fantastic. So she sent that, and then she also sent this beautiful needle minder with the witch and the black cat, which is also perfect for dark 13 stitching or dark October stitching. And this is from Denkai Designs, and so it has the little covered button back on it. I just love it. Love it, love it. So thank you. You know who you are. And I never know if I should say who things are from or not from, but I tend to err on the side of not. Okay, and then I got a sweet, sweet little card from another friend of mine. I love that. And so she sent, takes images and prints them on sticker paper and makes stickers. And so she sent me these two stickers. Aren't those awesome? I love it. I love this little lizard. And I love botanical prints anyway, so these are just beautiful. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to stick them on yet, but they will probably go in my bullet journal. But I just love them. And then she also, she hand dyes thread, and she also recently hand dyed some silk ribbon. And so she sent me a length of it. Isn't that pretty? It's that beautiful sort of saffron color. Cardamom, saffron, beautiful. I just love it. So I'm definitely going to use this in some sort of finishing. I'll have to find the perfect thing. I've seen Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, do some beautiful finishing using some silk ribbon as her trim on ornaments and things, which is so beautiful. So I think I'm gonna have to play with that. So thank you. And I purchased something for myself because I had to have it. This was one of those things that, you know, I looked at it and I talked myself out of it. I looked at it and I talked myself out of it. But then every time I saw somebody show it on Instagram, I was like, dang it, I really want that. It's so pretty. So I finally pulled the trigger and bought one. And so this is a thread ring from Little Robin Designs. And Robin is My Life's a Stitch on Instagram, and she has a Flosstube channel, as well as this is her Etsy shop, Little Robin Designs US on Etsy. And she makes these beautiful thread rings, and so this is the one that I had to have. It's Penelope, and there's a little crown on it, but I don't know what it is about this one, but it just looks so sort of beautifully, it looks really gothic to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that blue-gray dress or something. I don't know, but I absolutely love it. And so I had to have one. And now I have one, which I'm thrilled about. So Robin makes beautiful, beautiful thread rings. And now I have one of my very own. Okay, and then another package came in the mail. So my friend Becky, Socks for Mom, had she had kitted up Hands Across the Sea. Is it Ann Thomas? Walter, the pigeon. She had kitted that up with DMCs. And then after she kitted it up with DMCs, she decided that she wanted to do it in silks. So she asked me if I would like her DMCs because I was planning on stitching him in DMCs anyway. And so I said, yes, absolutely, I would love to have those. So I knew that these were coming. So she had already put them on floss tags, thread drops, whatever we're calling them these days. Aren't they pretty? And so she had already done that. So I knew that that was coming, but what I did not know was coming was she sent me one of her thread rings for Walter. And there's a tree charm that goes with him. Isn't that pretty? So now I am all set to start Walter, with the exception of fabric. So I just will have to figure out fabric and then I can start him. But man, I love those colors. I really do. Silk is so nice to work with, but DMC is really pretty. The colors are really vibrant and beautiful. So yeah, so she sent that. And this beautiful card, which I just love. And then she also, this was also another surprise, she sent me a thread ring for Anne Ufendel with that basket on it, which is really, to be honest with you, the whole reason I love this sampler is this basket, that checkerboard basket. Isn't that pretty? And then there's a little heart charm that goes with that. So, and I have been dying to put this on, my threads on this, but I needed to show it to you first. So tonight I'm going to put my threads for Anne on this. So thanks so much, Becky. I love it. I'm all set for Walter whenever that happens. Okay, and then I had one more thing that came in the mail from a very sweet stitcher who wanted to send me something, and so it arrived. And she sent this beautiful card, which is handmade, and it has this fantastic witch sticker on it. I just love it. And a very sweet note inside. And then she sent me, this is Hands to Work, my favorite primitive stitching bags, which I have been wanting this chart forever because look at this Halloween one. I love it. So I had been kind of in the back of my mind thinking that this whole thing or part of it would be so perfect in my Halloween neighborhood. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm gonna have to play around and see if I can fit that in or fit pieces of that in. But then of course I want to stitch it on its own. And this one, years ago for the Tudor Rose ornament exchange that we do every year at our holiday party, I think Sylvia actually stitched this for her exchange piece, and I just loved it. It was so pretty. So I think that's a must also. So beautiful, beautiful chart that I'm so in love with. And then she also sent me Anne Ufendel. So now I have two Anne Ufendels and the borrowed one that has to go back. But I messaged with her and let her know that someone had already gifted me with this chart and asked if she would be okay if I gave this one away. And she said that that would be fantastic. So I'm going to, in honor of my birthday month and in honor of my birthday SAL, I'm going to give away a copy of Anne Ufendel to one lucky winner. So if you would like to be entered to win Anne Ufendel, and I will draw this, I'll draw it on my next video. Let's see. Why don't you tell me your favorite sampler? Tell me what your favorite sampler is. Whether you've stitched it, whether you want to stitch it, whether it's your unicorn chart. Tell me what your favorite sampler is. And then I will enter you in the drawing for this chart on my next video. And don't say giveaway, be over 18. all the good stuff. So thank you so much to the person that sent this to me, so that we could do this as a giveaway. I'm excited about that. And then you can go to Becky Socks for Mom and get you a thread ring. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about plans. Let me move some of this stuff so that it's not right here. Okay, so I'm just all over the place. All right, so I talked about pulling out Jinx for dark 13 stitching, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Unless, you know, the wind blows a different way. But that's my plan as of this moment, is to work on Jinx. On Instagram, Miss Emily posted that she was starting Jane Tyndall by Needlework Press, along with a few other folks, Nicole and I think Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter, Laura aka Maud Mozart, and Christy from Crosshatch Quilts, and I think I said Nicole. So, and they started this the other day, last week, maybe last weekend, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I was tempted enough that I went and dug out my chart. I've had this chart since it was released. And so my chart looks very different from other people's charts, and I think this is because this may have been like the first run. I think she used to do her charts like this, and then she changed her formatting. But anyway, so that's the sampler. And so I think they're calling this the social distancing sheep SAL, because they're all like 6 feet apart. But I just love this piece. And this is another one of those that Siobhan stitched, and so then I needed to stitch it. Yeah. And I think I pulled this out in March when I was showing my Scarlet House samplers, because this one always makes me think of Tanya because she stitched the model for this. So I love this. I love everything about it. So I pulled my chart out, and I think Laura actually gave me some marching orders and was like, yeah, you need to start this. Yes, you do. So I told Emily yesterday that I've moved on to phase 2 of enablement, in that I have now pulled the threads. So, and I realize this looks like a rat's nest and not pretty, but life. I've just pulled the DMCs. I hate these freaking bobbins. Like, that makes me crazy. Whatever. Because they just look like a rat's nest. So I've now pulled the DMCs. And that's probably what I will stitch her in. I may pull some overdyes to use, but I needed to pull the DMCs first to kind of see where I was at. So, but it's got some really pretty, I love this red. And this blue and these olivey greens. just really pretty. Some golds. So I think I may pull some overdyes, but like I said, I'm starting with the DMCs. So this is step 2. Step 3 is to pull fabric. So I don't have a whole lot of choices on fabric. I was hoping that I could fit this on one of my Victorian mono pieces, but it's too big. So it's close, but it won't work. So I think I may use one of those pieces that Sylvia sent me. So I pulled those out today so I can look at them and see if I want to dye something or whatever. And so the model for this was actually stitched on 40 count Confederate gray weeks. And if you've never seen Confederate gray, it's kind of a weird color. It's almost what I would call a grayish. So it's sort of a cross between a gray and a brown, tan-ish. It's almost like you took gray and you kind of coffee dyed it. So it's a really pretty color. It's actually what I stitched my dad's sampler on. But I don't have that. But I was hoping I could use my Victorian mono, but I cannot. So I'm gonna have to play with threads, with fabric. But I think that this is gonna get started this month. I don't know when, but because I do still want to work on Anne for sure. In fact, when I was, commenting on Emily's post about it, I said, would it be wrong to abandon your own birthday SAL? I think it might. So I do want to start this at some point. But I've now hit phase 2. I'm working on phase 3 of enablement. And so, of course, when she mentioned Chrissy from Crosshatch Quilts was doing this also, I was like, you know what? I've never watched her videos. I should go check them out. So I went and watched her latest video, which I think is like number 6. And in it, she mentioned that there is another sampler that she is planning on starting with a friend of hers the weekend of Thanksgiving. It's another one that's on my bucket list. Hannah Tingy by the Scarlet House. And she's like, the colors of it are, really kind of fall, autumn feeling. But the sampler itself is more sort of, winter, Christmassy kind of feeling. So she thought, it would be the perfect time to stitch on it, to start it like Thanksgiving weekend. And I agree. So I think I'm going to start this in November because I loved it. I've had this since it came out. Such a shame, such a shame. And this will, I think, fit on one of my Victorian mono pieces of linen. So there you go. I've not yet pulled the threads for this. I wanted to deal with Jane Tyndall first, but this calls for, this one was stitched on 45 count vintage buttercream with needlepoint ink silk, otherwise known as NPI. So I will probably do the DMCs for this, and one of my pieces of linen is a little more, is like a warmer tone, so I think this will be perfect on it. Yeah, so I'm going to start this too, because apparently I have lost my mind. Because I believe just a week ago I was like, I'm not starting anything else, I got too many whips. I need to get some of these whips off my plate. Squirrel. And then the other thing that I have coming up is another new start. And I think I put my magazine away, but I'm going to start Women of the Mayflower. We've talked about this before. This was in Fine Lines magazine, so this is just my working copy. And I'm going to start this on September 6th. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I know that obviously with a lot of people stitching Mayflower samplers, related pieces, the Brenda Gervais Mayflower piece, of course, is coming out soon, so that can be started on the 6th, which is when, you know, they left England. And obviously, you know, this gets into what I'm going to call problematic territory. Because there is the, what is it called? The 1619 project. So, you know, we always look at 1620 being when we landed in America. But actually slaves were brought here in 1619. And so, you know, when you start to look at the history of what happened and what that timeline is, you know, it's certainly a case of we need to broaden our understanding of, at least for me, what I was taught in school was not the whole picture, right? And there are a lot of things that have been coming up for me lately where this is new information for me, right? Like my history books, my teachers did not cover a lot of these things. That came up for me with Juneteenth. Never heard of it, didn't know what it meant, wasn't covered in my history classes. And of course I live in Texas, so you know the ramifications of, you know, that date and the importance of it. Yeah, so it's a good reminder that we just need to, you know, broaden our understanding, educate ourselves, and be aware of what that history really looks like. And it may look very different from how you were originally taught. So, I am looking forward to doing my Mayflower piece. I am looking forward to stitching that, and you know, I'm not going to equate the two things, but I'm going to make a comparison here because it keeps sort of coming up for me, because it's one way in which I can sort of put it into perspective for myself. So I'm just going to throw it out there. So a couple years ago, we did a stitch along for the remembrance of the Salem witch trials, because it was the 325th anniversary of it. And I am a descendant of one of the people that was hanged, that was found guilty and hanged at the witch trials. There is a lot of, and it came up for me as a hot topic, I'll put it that way. It was really pushing my buttons, that there were so many people that didn't understand the circumstances of what really happened. And I was, not only bothered by that, because I wanted to just scream at people like, you need to educate yourselves. But also that when you start to talk about Salem witch trials, there is a lot of, and I'm going to use this word, even though this may not be an appropriate word to use, there is a lot of appropriation that has happened with the Salem witch trials, that it has, anything surrounding that has now turned into being Halloween themed. And on Halloween pieces, all the time you see 1692. And the two things have nothing to do with each other. And so it bothers me to no end to see Halloween pieces that have the date 1692 on them. It bothers me to no end that people make that correlation, because there is no correlation there, at least none that I am aware of. So I'm not trying to make a comparison between the Mayflower and the Salem witch trials, or that slavery or people being, hanged for witchcraft are the same thing whatsoever, because they are not. But for me, in trying to get a little bit of understanding around the concerns and the need for people to educate themselves more that goes with the Mayflower, the only thing in my experience that I can relate it to is the Salem witch trials. So anyway, all that being said, I'm going to take the time, I think their journey lasted 66 days. I'm going to start this on September 6th. I want to stitch this in honor of the Mayflower, but at the same time, I am going to use that time just like I did with my piece that I stitched for the Salem witch trials. I used that time to research and learn and try to educate myself further about each of those people who lost their lives. So I'm going to take this time in that 66 days to also be doing some education around 1619, etc. So that's my plan. And I'm happy that I have the opportunity to do that. So, that being said, I am going to start this on September 6th. I am going to be stitching it on a piece of 40 count mellow. This is actually the remainder of my Sampler Sisters fabric, and it'll fit, and I think it'll be perfect. And so this chart was originally done in old willow stitchery threads, which you cannot get anymore, because I believe the woman that did them was Sarah Ullman, who charted this, designed this. So what I did, and several people have posted their conversions that they're using. What I did was I did a conversion from the old willow stitchery to DMC, and then I'm taking the DMC and converting that to other overdyes. So I started this process the other day and pulled a few colors. I'm only about halfway through the list, but so far I've got Weeks Deep Sea, I've got Gentle Arts Peacock, I've got Classic Colorworks, I almost said Classic Colorworks Cobbled Peach, Gentle Arts Steamed Broccoli, and then it called for kind of a goldish yellow, and none of these I'm super happy with. I pulled Marigold, I pulled Golden Star, and I pulled Summer Meadow. I'm not really happy with any of the three of them, so I was gonna pull the actual DMC, and because I was just going for my color card. I'm gonna pull the actual DMC and see what I can do there. So I'm still in the process of doing that conversion, and we'll see what I come up with. But I am looking forward to stitching that. Yeah. So, okay. So those are my upcoming plans. I think that's it. So I'm going to keep going on in Ufendel and spend some more time with that lovely lady. And then I have Jane Tyndall waiting in the wings. And then Mayflower on September 6th. I'll be back before September 6th, but that's my plan. So I think that's about all I have today. It is super hot outside. I think it's supposed to be over 100 every day this week. There's no rain in sight, which kind of stinks. I'm taking a few days off work for my birthday. I have some sewing that I need to do, so I'm going to try to do that because I don't think I've had my sewing machine out since I don't know when. It's been long enough I don't remember. And I was kind of thinking that I might try to work on one of my quilts or perhaps make myself a grime guard. But I have a couple other things I need to get done, so that may not happen. And that would be my cat joining us. Don't sneeze on that. He has been sneezing. This is Tut. He has been sneezing so much lately. And at first we just thought maybe it was just allergies or something, but he keeps doing it. So I think he's going to have to go and somebody's going to have to take a look at him, because it's not just every so often. Like, he's sneezing a lot, and when he sneezes, it's like a huge sneezing fit. So, And he was acting okay otherwise, but then the past couple of days he's been sort of, you know, he doesn't really want to be bothered. He's not coming down to eat in the mornings, so yeah. So he may have to go and be looked at, which is never a fun time. Yeah. So other than that, we're just staying home, staying safe. No interest in going out because it's scary out there. I sure miss going to a restaurant though. So I think that's all I got. But thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. Don't forget to leave me a comment about your favorite sampler. And if you want to join in on the birthday SAL, just use Cozyegg hats Bday SAL as the hashtag, or just go look at the hashtag and see all the fantastic things that people are stitching on, because good stuff. So yeah, that's all I got. So thanks guys for joining. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to all of my ramblings, etc. And a special thank you to everybody that sent me a wonderful package in the mail. I really, truly appreciate it, and it really means a lot to me. So, thanks guys. Happy stitching.